Right, I know you can just about see me. I've had a few issues over the last couple of days. Some of you will see my Facebook post that are on my Facebook. Bike died. Basically, it was all down to a relay that packed up. But because this is a police bike, the wiring is not that simple. So, as you could probably guess from me just saying that, and the title of this video will be "I hate wiring." I'm going to show you what I've been doing and show you what the cause was, and also I'm going to be slimming down the loom as well and getting rid of all the police extra crap that I don't need. So without further ado, let's crack on. Right, this is a police spec bike. It's got all the extra switches and, where are we? I've forgotten where we are. All the extra switches and bits and pieces in here. Ugh. That is my wiring. And a lot of this is all for extra police stuff that's in here, and it just all got put into the box. Now, the issue I had was this little fucker. Now this is the fuel stop cut-off relay, which kicks the fuel pump in when you first fire the bike up. So I'll explain a little bit about that for people that don't understand. A lot of bikes run these. They will run in virtually the same way. Difficult to see this. Just wiring out of the way. Right. What you've got. Hang on. We're on the spin here. Put the light on. There we go. Right. What you've got is you've got 4 wires going in. Okay. You have a green, which is that one. You then have this brown red one. There is a black white underneath, and this blue yellow. Right. Now the green is the ground. That brown one is for the fuel pump. The black, white, black, that one there, when it focuses. That one that's there behind it is the 12 volt input, and that comes from the pulse generator. Now what happens is obviously that grounds the relay. You get 12 volts come into the relay, which does something in electrical wizardry in there. Sends a signal through the fuel pump to prime the fuel pump when you first turn the ignition on. Okay, so when you first turn the ignition on, you get 12 volts down there, 12 volts inside. It activates for a couple of seconds, sends 12 volts up there, primes the fuel pump, and stops. Then what happens is you get a signal down this blue yellow wire from the pulse generator, which then does whatever it does in there, and then sends a signal down this brown wire back to the fuel pump. So as long as it gets a signal down this blue yellow wire, you get power back up through this brown wire, which then runs the fuel pump. Now the problem with mine is it burns out inside, and it's been a lot of faffing around, and I found that there's a couple of other wires in this loom that are broken off, which you'll see in here. I've had to twist them two together to get it to run. That one's actually come out. What's going on there? I was using that as a jumper cable into that one there from this one here, because there's a black red. That black red wire there for some reason is not working as far as I remember. No, so you can't hear the fuel pump, which is there. So there's no fuel pump kicking in, which means there's no 12 volts getting back up at the moment because that cable's come out, that one there. But if I put that one back in, I'll put it on a 12 volt feed and turn the ignition on, it'll kick the ignition in. Oh dear, I want to spin again. So that's the issues I'm having. So what I'm doing is this all here, this is all the police loom. I don't need any of this, but it's still good wire, so I'm going to keep it. All I need is that. That's rear lights. So I'm going to start working my way through the loom, back up to here, and get rid of everything that I don't need. It's not going to be working, which is also good for when you're building a rat bike anyway, because the less you have to go wrong, the better. So a little bit of perseverance and see what happens. Right, let's crack on. This is where I've got to. Focus in. All this is extra wiring. And if you come around, you can see how much I've taken out. I mean, look at the thinness of this loom now. I mean, that's a quarter of the size it was. There's nowhere near as much loom in there now. I'm just pulling through the rest of the loose cabling. I haven't cut anything out that I'm obviously going to need. All I've done is I've started from the back, which was this big junction. It's all wrapped up, but all that cabling in there was all for the hazard lights, sirens, all the rest of the crap. So all I've done is cut that off first from that end and work my way back rather than trying to trace it through the other way. So cut that out and work my way through. And this is what we got to. All this. Which is going to go in the box because it's all good spare wire. You never know when you're going to need it. All I've got to do now is get in amongst that lot, cut all that open, get rid of all the bits and pieces I don't need in there, which is okay, tracing all these wirings and stuff and back through. I'll probably end up with a couple of spare relays, which is always useful. I'm just going to put the light on, see a bit better. Yeah, so there's a couple of spare relays and stuff that will end up out of there. I have tested, it does still run, everything still works. You know, it's one of these things when you're doing wiring and bits and pieces and cutting looms out, you need to do a bit, make sure you still got everything working, carry on, do a bit more, carry on, do a bit more, so on and so forth. Right, I'm going to crack on and get inside that box and get to all that lot. Right guys, right. You join me in the process of doing some soldering. Yes, there's a good, if anybody you guys are on YouTube quite a lot, there's Dalboy's Garage. He does a simple skill section and he does a good tutorial on soldering. But basically all you do is you cut your NZ wires, slide your sleeving over, which is there. I tend to fan the wiring out, push it together, twist it back together, solder over the top, sleeve over, heat shrink, done. He goes into more detail about it and of how to do it. There are there's many different ways of soldering, hundreds of different ways of soldering. So it's up to you. But as you can see, look how much smaller my loom is, much neater it is now. I'm just going through cable tying it up out of the way for now. I haven't got any loom tape. I need to get some. Then I should go back over it with loom tape and it'll look like a factory loom. That is the amount of wiring that I've took out. That is all the police loom. I don't need any of that. Absolute nightmare. So while I'm waiting for the soldering iron, I quite literally am going through and just making sure. Right, as I was saying, I literally am just going through and making sure that all the solder, all my connections, and everything I'm gonna fall. Oh, what are we doing? I'm gonna fall out. Stand there. There we go. So that's all done. It all works. It all runs. You should hear fuel pump kick in now. Should have heard that. That means fuel pump's now working. Soldering iron's coming up to temperature. I can smell it. Not sure. There it goes. just coming up to temperature now. So I'm literally just going to tin the end of this one. This is the indicator, I believe. Yeah. Right hand indicator. I managed to cut through the wiring. Oh, this takes an age. It shouldn't take that long, the wiring's pretty thin to be fair. Oh, got a different angle. Come on. There it goes, just starting to get hot now. Just be careful when you do this as well, because you can overheat the wire and you end up with all sorts of trouble. It's not the best solder in the world, but soldering. I've just got this other one to do. But yeah, there you go, nice and tidy, easy sorted loom with, and I've gained 3 relays, which is nice. Next job is to lose the switch gear, because the switch gear is of no use to me. Basically what I mean by that is it's the police one, and I don't want it because it's just more hassle. It's just extra wiring that when something goes wrong you've then got to chase it through the loom, and it takes forever to find anything. At least when the wire's simple like this, when it goes wrong, I've got a pretty good idea of where. Just kind of chase that solder out on this other wire. You probably can't see me doing that. Okay. Right, heat shrink. I'll show you something else in a minute as well, actually. Yes, I know a lighter's best at doing this, but I haven't got one to hand, so it's too hot for it. Right, cable. See if I can find a bit. Hang out like that. Wait a minute. Just want to show people something. Right, that's an old bit of cable. Let's try and find it. Cleaner piece. That's a cleaner piece. Just want to show you something that not a lot of people realise. Well, it's this. That's a clean. Focusing on that. That's a clean piece of cable. That. Okay, that's good cable. Really good cable. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly serviceable. But this is what happens to your copper cabling. See, it's gone black. All gone black. Well, it's going black. And that's moisture getting into your cabling. Focus, come on, focus. That's moisture getting into your cabling, that is. And what happens is you end up with a bad resistance down the cable, so your cable won't work as well as it should do. All bikes suffer with this, and the bikes that suffer with this more than anything, and I know I'm going to get criticised for this, is the bikes that are laid up. Because when you use wiring, you generate a certain amount of heat down the cabling. Okay, and that actually works and keeps the cabling dry. Now, bikes that are laid up, I'm going to rephrase that. The bikes that are laid up and are not stored properly in a moistureless environment, so you need like something like a dome or a bubble or something like that, or in a warm environment, this is what happens. Your cabling goes black, and you end up with poor running issues and poor signals and all the rest of it. So if you're going to lay your bike up, do it properly and keep it covered, and keep it in a vacuum pack if you have to. It just stops that issue. It makes life a lot easier when you come to doing other jobs, because your cabling won't go black. Now, a lot of this cabling in here has gone black for one reason or another. I'm just trying to find what some of these cables go to. That one, right, that needs rejoining to one of those in there. Right, she's all done, back together, sorted. So that's it really, can't do anything else apart from try to take it for a test run. She's all up and running. Everything works as it should. We've got tail lights, yeah, tail lights indicators. Yeah, everything's working. So right, that's it. It's up, it's done, it's running. Test ride. Just check everything. There we go. Right. Sorted. I shall see you in the next one when we finish off the tow hitch.